Ohne NATO leben, Ideen zum Frieden. Internationales Podium, Andrej Hunko, Bundesrepublik Deutschland.
Thank you very much, Christina, and thank you all for this, I think, very successful so far and very good conference. I'm a member of the Council of Europe Parliamentary Assembly, but much more interesting for you is that I'm as well a member of the OSZE Parliamentary Assembly, where Ulla Klötzer spoke about now, and it perfectly fits what I have to say, what is going on there. But first, let me tell that Oscar Lafontaine this morning cited Mikhail Gorbachev, the idea of a common house of Europe. This idea was presented by Mikhail Gorbachev in June '89, in the Parliamentary Assembly of Council of Europe. And I've been very active there for 10 years so far. And it's a very, very, very bad process that now, after more than 25 years of membership, Russia was kicked out or had to leave the Council of Europe, because this was the institutional formation of what is called a common ground for from Lisbon to Vladivostok, on the basis of European Convention on Human Rights and other very good conventions. But I have to say as well, this process is reversible. We hear a lot of politicians in Germany in these days that all the processes we are facing now are eternal, are not reversible. And that is the reason why I want to remind that what Ulla Klötzer spoke about the success of the Helsinki summit in '75. This started in the late '60s. This started after the shameful invasion of Soviet Union in Prague, in Czechoslovakia. But nevertheless, there were people starting the initiative to have this idea, and it was on April '69 that NATO ministers agreed in the general idea of having this common security conference. The idea of common security is an idea of CSCE or later OSCE. And I think this is very necessary that we have to push now again for this idea, because the alternative, as we spoke in all of this conference, is very, very nasty. We had, and Ulla Klötzer spoke about this as well in 1990, the Charter of Paris. This was a big window of opportunity to reach this kind of common security or collective security system in Europe. And this was stopped, the window of opportunity, with NATO. Instead of this NATO enlargement starting in 97, 98, a decision by the government of Clinton, with a lot of protests by very, very important figures in US, but nevertheless, this is now what we are seeing. I would like to talk about the OSZE Parliamentary Assembly, where I'm a member of. First, I would like to, because Yuri mentioned how much is spent for diplomacy and how much is spent for military. The whole budget of the OSZE, with 57 member states, is more or less the same than one F-35 plane which Germany want to buy 35 of. So the whole budget is more or less about 150 million euro a year, and this is more or less the price of one of the 35 F-35 planes, which our defense minister want to buy. We have, as Parliamentary Assembly, once in a year, we have a yearly assembly. This will be this year from 2nd to 6th of July in Birmingham, in England. And some European leftist, peace-looking members of this assembly, we started a motion there, which is more or less exactly the idea Ulla Klötze showed us. It's a draft resolution called, the title is Call for a High-Level Conference to Advance Peaceful Dispute Settlement in a Renewed European Security Architecture. And it is, it's not directly saying a second Helsinki, but it points to the direction of the second Helsinki summit. And the central demand of this resolution is to call on participating states to establish by common agreement the modalities for a high-level conference aimed at peacefully settling territorial disputes in the OSCE region and establishing a new and inclusive European security architecture through the conclusion of a comprehensive collective security treaty based on the principle of common and indivisible security. So that's what we are aiming for. We are now in the process of collecting signatures. There are some positive feedbacks from not only from leftists, but mainly from leftists, but as well, for example, day before yesterday, the Vatican called us and very much supported the idea. It's not a natural for me, but it was very interesting, and it fits to what the Pope said some weeks ago, that it is, of course, it is a totally condemning war, totally to condemn the war of Russia on Ukraine. It's of course against international law, but there is as well a part, that's a Western part of in the development of this war, and he said it's like the NATO is, in German speaking, belling vor Russlands Türen zu bellen. It's like dogs are shouting before the doors of Russia. So it's very interesting that the Vatican, for example, is supportive in this idea. So that's we will send on Monday to all members of the OSCE Parliamentary Assembly to understand. We have, for example, from Germany, we have 13 members and 13 substitutes. It's me and Gregor Gysi. We are member and substitute. So all in all, around 300-400 who will meet in Birmingham, and we will see in 1 week how many feedback we get. I hope that's more than 20 out of more than 4 states, because this is a threshold to that this could be an item on the agenda in Birmingham. But that's what we can do, what I can do as being a member of this assembly. But of course, I would like to underline the big issue is that we have to change the public opinion. In Germany at the moment, it is changing. There is at these minutes, there is in my city in Aachen, there is a demonstration against war. I cannot go there because I'm here. Of course, it's important to have protests in our countries, but one of the demands, I think, should be a new Helsinki process, a new summit like Helsinki, and this, for shame, maybe it's not in Helsinki, but maybe in Vienna or Zurich or Dublin, but that is what I wanted to report to you. Thank you very much for this brilliant conference so far.
Schreiben Sie uns für Kritiken, Anregungen und Fragen kongress@frieden-links.de. Dieser Beitrag wurde vom YouTube-Kanal Der Rote Platz unterstützt.